What's good, YouTube? Capital G here. I'm gonna give you guys another video. I didn't make top 8. I did. I went 5-2, and here's the deck that I ran. Again, I went 5-2. It's really consistent, and it's a really fun deck to play. I think I might play it at my next regionals because, to be honest, it's really fun. I call the deck CO Superpowers, but here's the deck. One copy of Stratos. A guy on Duelist Ground said it right. It's the best +1 in Yu-Gi-Oh! So you definitely have to play it. And plus, it's the whole center of your deck. Most decks that have Stratos want to get him turn 1. This deck is no exception. 3 copies of the Kid Neos. We play about 5 cards in this deck that just center around him. I mean, Neos is the heart of the deck. He's light, so you can use him with Honest. He's a warrior, so you can use him with Rhoda. He's an E-hero, so he works with E-Call and Stratos. I mean, dude's just got synergy for days. He's a Gemini, so you can use Gemini Spark with him. He's just amazing. I love when I summon him and people are like, let me read his effect. And I tell him, like, dude, his effect's irrelevant. 3 copies of Thunder King. A lot of the versions use 2, but 3 is better because Doom Cow is really not that great, and Thunder King puts in work against every deck. I kind of tech this deck specifically for quick draw / debris, and especially sabers. And this guy just really keeps X sabers in check. They have a real hard time getting around him, and it's just a good standalone card, especially, you know, a Thunder King plus a little bit of protection and like an Honest. Like, it's very difficult to get around. It's anti-synchro and all that good shit. 2 copies of DD Warrior Lady. This is some of my personal tech. I guess I got the idea from Alex Van Sant. This card is just amazing. Here's the reason why this is better than Banisher and Doom Caliber Knight. When you have Doom Caliber Knight or Banisher and your opponent has a big monster on the field like Fortress or Herc or something like that, I mean, you can't get around it with that card because Doom Caliber Knight is about prevention. Well, DD Warrior Lady kind of works the same way, as far as this card can prevent Emmer's Blade and Dark Soul and Dandelions just like Doom Caliber can, but it can remove them permanently. And in addition, you can set this against those big Stardusts and those Fortresses and all those big cards that your opponent, you know, might summon against you and you might not have an out to, and you can just remove it. Not to mention, people will attack this with little monsters and you can still use Honest and whatnot. So 2 copies of Cyber Dragon. Makes crazy advantage in machine matchups. People can't leave random machines on the field against you. Basically, it baits out Bottomless when you don't have like Gemini Spark, so that your Thunder Kings don't get Bottomless, and it lets you push in for damage when combined with like Honest and stuff like that. 2 copies of Honest. Just an amazing card. I think every single card in this deck so far has been light except for Stratos, so it just makes sense to run it. 1 copy of Grand Mole, personal tech of mine. Grand Mole is amazing. Again, it's a 1 card out to those all those synchros and Fortress and stuff like that. Even though they could resummon Fortress, still really good. You can't Bottomless it, and it's really good. The thing that this deck struggles most with in testing, I found, was against face downs. Cards like Emmer's Blade and Raikou, and especially Snowman Eater. People side the hell out of that card against this deck. What Grand Mole allows you to do is keep a Neos on the field, and you can just summon Grand Mole, bounce, attack. Summon Grand Mole, bounce, attack. I did that against in the last round against a scrap player, and he couldn't do anything. And this is also an amazing out to Scrap Dragon. It's one of the best outs to that card in the game if they already have it on the field, as this deck really doesn't have an answer for Scrap Dragon if it's already out. Effect Veiler, I only played one Saber, which I 2-0'd, and I didn't play any quick draw debris decks, and it kind of pissed me off because I added Effect Veiler just for those 2 matchups. I might actually make this a Gores because you'll see in my trap lineup, I don't run a ton of traps, and it will let me invest less cards onto the field. So, I mean, I can still play my control game, but if I lose control, you know, I can just sit back on my Gores. 3 copies of Pot of Duality. I actually, it's crazy. During Wilson, I didn't have any, and I actually picked these up in a week. But yeah, like this and Solemn Warning are like the whole reason that this deck even exists, like competitively. This card just, it gets you Stratos first turn. It gets you all the stuff you need. Like, it'll get you the warning. It'll get you the honest. It'll get you the solemn judgment. It'll get you whatever you need to keep your lot going or to just be more aggressive in a control deck. It just, man, this card is so amazing. Just to be completely honest, don't run this deck unless you have 3 dualities or at least 2 minimum. 3 copies of Book of Moon. It's anti-synchro, and it's just pretty much a staple in this format. Stops all those dumb plays that your opponent does with Trap Stun and whatnot. And you guys pretty much know why Book of Moon is amazing. 3 copies of Gemini Stun. It might seem like overkill because we're only running 3 targets, but I mean, you get the Stratos so quick. Stratos gets Neos, and this card becomes so good. It's basically Icarus attack or Scrapstone for the deck. I mean, you summon it so many times. I did it. I hit people with Gemini Spark, and a lot of people, again, didn't even know what this card does. You just summon Neos, they bottomless or torrential, and then you just be like, Gemini Spark, blow up your Solemn Warning, blow up your face down Raikou, you know, blow up your Solemn Judgment or whatever. And then you get the draw card, so it's like a +1. E-Call lets you get to Neos and Stratos. Same thing goes for Rhoda, except Rhoda can get DD Warrior Lady in this deck, which I like. Monster Reborn is staple. MST good. It's just generic magic and trap removal. I might actually take this out for a second E-Call. There were a couple games where I had Gemini Sparks and I couldn't get to my my Neosis. Like somebody warning my my Stratos. So I might actually take this out for a second E-Call because like I don't think it mattered that much in the regional, to be completely honest. Staple Dark Hole. Cross out, another tech card that I chose to add in. The reason I added this in is because against this deck, or just about everything in the entire meta massively sets cards except for Black Wings. If you're playing just a typical, you're playing Scraps, they're setting Spies and they're setting Goblins. You're playing against Sabers, they're setting Emmer's Blade, they're setting Partial, they're setting Dark Souls. You're playing against Debrisheim, they're setting Raikous and Hamsters and Dandelions and shit. Everything sets in this format, and this is why this card is amazing. You play against Salvo, they're setting Dekochis, and you know what I mean? 3 copies of Solemn Warning, it's staple. You gotta play them. And any control deck right now, like you should be maxing on Solemn Warning. 2 copies of Bottomless, they're staple. They're really good. You do have to side them out against like Quick Draw, but I mean it's still staple right now. 2 copies of Deep Prison gives you good synchro out against Stardust and stuff like that, and against like random Machina Fortresses and stuff like that. It's a really good card. 2 copies of Hero Blast. How sick is Hero Blast? This card is so amazing. It's a card. It's a +1. First off, this deck doesn't play a lot of +1s, but this is like one of the best ones in the game, or one of the best ones in this deck. You just set Hero Blast, let your opponent summon after you like Gemini Sparked a Neos. Your opponent tries to synchro, they summon like Debris Dragon or whatever. You just be like, Hero Blast, target your Debris Dragon. Debris Dragon blows up and you get Neos to the field. Also, you don't actually even need a monster on your opponent's field to activate this card. So you can just blow up, you can just activate this even if they don't have a monster on the field, and then just, you know, it's still 1-for-1. Mirror Force and Solemn Judgment. That's it for the main deck. I'm going to go to the side deck now. 2 copies of Breaker. It's just for like, you know, if you play like macro, you play something with Decrees and you feel like you need some extra magic and trap removal. I play Burn, and you know, he came in handy. 2 copies of Juju Master. This card is garbage. The only reason I cited it because I cited Skill Drains, and I thought, hey, well, I'll side Juju Masters and Skill Drains at the same time instead of Snowman Eater and Skill Drain. But you won't always have these 2 at the same time. Snowman Eater is better. This card is garbage. Yes, but this card does work under Skill Drain. If they kill it in battle, you still get the effect with Skill Drain active. That second effect Veiler was for Sabers and Debris, but again, I only played 1 Sabers. This was probably overkill. 3 copies or 2 copies of Crossout, which means that at any time I could have 3. I think 1 is fine. I'm going to take this out and find something else to put in there. Second MST, really just for Decree, if I happen to see it. 2 copies of Skill Drain. Skill Drain I actually did like. It's for Machinas. It's for Debris Heim deck. Somebody did it online. They decided to Skill Drain against me, against my my Heim deck, my Dark Debris, and it really just raped me. Like, it turned off all my effects and I couldn't get around it. 2 copies of Starlight Road for Black Wings. You know, they play Icarus. They play Delta Crow. They play Torrential Tribute, Mirror Force, all that stuff. 7 tools for that same matchup for anti-meta too, mirror match. Potentially gadgets depending on what type of gadget it is. Mind Crush. Mind Crush, really good against Sabers. I played a Saber player round 3. We were both 2-0, and he had a partial on the field, and he flipped over Trap Stun in his main phase, and he had 3 in hand. And I chained my Mind Crush, and I called Full Troll. He had to discard it, and I ended up wrecking him because of it. So obviously Saber match. But you know what? It's actually just good because so many people play. You play Whirlwind, and you play Pot of Duality, you play Dark Souls and Sangans and all this other stuff that lets you show what you have, but it's hard to stop it. Mind Crush is a really good card. Royal Oppression. People will probably yell at me and say, Capital G, why aren't you maining Royal Oppression? Here's the reason I'm not maining Royal Oppression. First off, it's so damn easy to stop right now. You have Cold Wave, Trap Stun, 7 tools, double MST. Like, it's damn hard to get Oppression off right now. Against a very good Saber or Debris player, there are only about 3 summons that they'll just blatantly throw at you if you have like 3 back rows. That would be Cyber Dragon, because that is commonly sided against this deck. Monster Reborn, because it's kind of a use it or lose it card. Lone Fire Blossom. That's pretty much it. People aren't just going to randomly say Bogart Knight. If you have 3 back row, they're not going to be like, Bogart Knight, partial, let me synchro for a Hunlate. No, not against 3 back row, you're not. You're going to fall into a Solemn Warning or a Solemn Judgment or Oppression and then lose. People play Trap Stun first, they play Cold Wave first, and then your Oppression gets turned off like a light switch and you get wrecked. So you play this against decks. You play this against when you need more special summon negation. Honestly, I'll probably try and pick up some Fossil Dynas and add those in. But, it is what it is. My extra deck is irrelevant. And anyways, this deck I really feel like is amazing. I'm probably going to play it at my next regionals because I'm just loving it right now. One of the losses I had was my own fault. Stupid thing. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my deck. Just keep checking back for new content. Thank you guys.